All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Radical Rowdy Productions. We are here today, myself, as always, your host, Jay Milligan, joined by our exit specialist, Julia Rowe, and the third place finisher on Survivor Yagong Island, Kyle Durrett. Kyle, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. Excited to talk about it. I'm wearing OG Shayu buff today.
What buff is it actually?
This is actually Sele from Winners Award, but Shayu at heart.
You're shy. Love the spirit, just energy that counts. Maybe we can get you some buffs too if you want them.
Right.
All right, but that leaves me with handing it over to Julia to go ask your interview questions.
Awesome. So I'm just going to start off with, what was your overall strategy coming into the game, and how did that strategy change and adapt throughout the duration of the mini?
So strategy coming in, my usual strategy is to be very quiet at the start of a mini because it's easy to stand out and you kind of want to let people stand out. And then at a certain point, you need to be the one that kind of takes the forefront. So like in the middle of the merge, I think is when I felt like I started to take more control of the game rather than just sort of going with the flow, which is how I would start the game.
Awesome. So starting back in the pre-merge section of the game, you had some difficulties with some of the challenges, mainly your leg in the relay race, and more notably your struggles with both acting and guessing during charades. In those pre-merge episodes, you talked a lot about being paranoid because of those performances. What did you try to do to overcome that perception of you as maybe a weak challenge performer? And how did you maybe use that to your benefit moving forward?
Well, first of all, when it came to the challenges, I was glad to we won the first one, and then I got kidnapped on the second one. But I just, I wanted to find any reason to get the target on somebody else. So when I came in and found that Alex had voted incorrectly at that tribal council, I was like, oh, great. Okay. Yeah. Get him out. I said that I could be the decoy if they wanted. So sort of getting trust back with people in that way. But once I found that out, I was like, okay, good. This is another round I can survive.
And real quick, before we get to the other question, just walk me through that charade challenge because, wow.
Yeah, oh man, yeah. I was like, I just hope I don't screw up on my leg. I'm like, I hope we get this in a couple of minutes max. And oh my goodness, guessing croquet. Ian did the bird. I was like, what the hell is that? Still don't get it, but we got there. And then the equestrian, I broke it down syllable by syllable. I'm like, this is the only way we're gonna get there because it's kind of a difficult word to begin with. And eventually we got it, but challenge was over.
Yeah, I'd say one of the best moments in the entire season is you going like this. And Elijah fourth syllable, and you just see how you going like this, trying to find Ian on your screen, and everyone got it besides Elijah. Yep. I didn't catch that the day off. I watched the film back, and I was just dying because that was so perfect. But yeah, definitely not your best moment per se in one of these games, no. But you did get through it eventually, and so
if you went out after the charades challenge, we would shit on you a little bit more for it, but you
deservedly so.
I have to say, can you act out? How would you act out equestrian again now if you were to think about it?
All right, it would start out with doing some of that, doing this, and then go right into the syllables, pointing at whoever I can find on screen.
I don't think it was much you did bad as I think it's just the one person who was never going to get that you got stuck with. I think it was very much a benefit of not you. I think you were giving good hints, but I think it was Elijah was just the one person that was kind of confused at. I think it's just who you got stuck with more than.
Yeah. So if we had lost, maybe I would have tried to push it on him too. Hey, yeah, he was the one that slowed us up.
Let's leave Elijah alone a bit. No, Elijah's a nice guy, but I don't think either one of you would have been in trouble. I think.
So you also gave Bill an idle clue when you were kidnapped. What specifically went into that decision of choosing Bill? I know you said you wanted to kind of extend that olive branch, but there was also some other people on that tribe you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that it affected your game specifically moving forward?
Well, going into that decision, you know, I kind of wanted to make a quick decision. So I was like, well, let me think about this. Okay, Bill, you know, so that, I mean, that was basically the decision. But the way it affected my game was that it gave me somebody who I felt like I could rely on when I got there, to the merge, that is. I was like, we have some trust a little bit, and I can tell him that it was me, or he knew it was me who gave it to him, but, you know, just be like, hey, you know, I gave you this, and, you know, to show you that I trust you and want to work with you. And I think that that did benefit me because we did vote together and he was somebody who I could rely on.
What aspect of the game, the physical, social, or strategic, do you think you played the best in the game? And how did it help you get as far as you did?
I would say social game because I always say I want to make myself important to people's games, or at least more important than other people. So I didn't really have people wanting to come for me at any point after the merge, at least. So I had everybody thinking that I wanted to work with them. So that was, you know, they never felt worried about me, and they never wanted to vote me out. So that definitely helped me get far in the game.
I just say screw social games. I have a problem.
I feel it. I understand.
Why you never make the end.
It is. And listen, the last time I played Orc, I made it see. I listen. It's because it's too social
You won most social player.
somehow. No idea how.
And connections obviously played a major role in the game, and they really came to a head in the merge portion, especially. How did you navigate them once you saw what the cast was? How did you use them to your benefit? And how do you think they maybe throughout the course of the game and getting to FTC could have led to your downfall?
Good question. Well, I knew that there were certain people who I could count on in like the pre-merge. So like on the original tribe, Ian and Victoria, I knew that this would be a good, you know, group of people to work with. When we all got together at the merge and it was just us, we all knew that we would be vying for the same numbers. So I think maybe that is not a downfall, but just like a detriment for all of us, is that it's like we all trust each other and we all want to work with each other. So it's like, who is everybody going to decide to go with? So having somebody else, you know, like a secondary connection, maybe to rely on, like Andrew, for instance, could have been really good to have just like one more person who I knew would vote with me, no matter what, when everything started to, you know, fall apart.
Yeah, so you mentioned your social game was obviously what you thought was the best aspect of your game. What are some connections that you think specifically really helped you propel yourself forward? And what were some connections, either be from like merge or earlier, that you wish you developed more looking back in hindsight?
Well, I think I wish I made it like very clear to Carrie, for instance, that I wanted to go to the end with her. Like just make that clear. Like, well, let's vote together, right? So that we can both get to the end together. So I think that that was one connection that I didn't just shore up enough. A good connection I had was, you know, Ian was a great connection, especially at the early stage of the merge, because he was somebody who I knew I could keep in front of me, as I said many times, that he was a shield for me. But also he was a vote that I felt like I could rely on as well. I knew that we could definitely get on the same page for some votes until we would start to break apart.
Awesome. So over the course of your game, what do you think were some key moments or votes that you think ultimately cost you at the end? And on the flip side, what are some moments you think really helped your case at FTC?
Well, the one thing that I felt like cost me was outside of the final four, because like that was sort of obvious. I'd say the final six when Bill went home, because that was somebody who I lost, who, like I said, I really trusted Bill, and I felt like he trusted me too. And he was that's like one less person who I feel like I could have on my side at the next couple of votes, which I had immunity anyway. But if I didn't, then I was a little bit worried that it could turn on me at some point. So I think that that was where it started to go wrong. The vote, one very important vote was when Lily went home, because Lily is like such an incredible social player that if you ever have an opportunity to vote her out, like you have to take it. So when we had just enough of us who were willing to get her out at that point, I was like, this is great because she can absolutely win. Like she could always get to the end and she can always get enough votes to win. So that's a huge, dangerous threat that I was happy that we were able to get her out as early as possible. Sorry, Lily.
No, Lily's one of those social players where she can be strategic and she knows when to make those cutthroat moves. She knows the right timing and she's so well liked that you don't see her doing it. And like that's why I think that was like one of the best moves you guys made.
For sure.
Awesome. So those are the main questions I have for you, but I know Jay has a lot from the viewers. For you, so I'm going to throw it
Got
over to
them
him.
written down.
You got them written down. You're not supposed to be looking at them.
Came prepared.
You came prepared. I'd love to see it. All right. So first we got McKenna Feeney. Kyle, still no idol. You'll get him next time, champ. My burning question for you is, what black t-shirt represents your game? And I think you might be wearing it.
I certainly am wearing it, as you can see. Well, as far as the idol goes, I had to give a clue away this time, so I had to give it away.
At least you didn't give it away and then get that and then have the person find that idol and idol you out with it. So
yes,
improvements.
We're improving, yes. So I'm happy about that. My shirt that represents my game, as you can see, Smashing Pumpkins 0 shirt to represent the 0 vote finalist, which I wear with honor. I like it.
Well, we love to see it. You're now part of that group chat on Facebook. So
Yep.
McKenna, Inglis, I love you so much, and I'm so glad we were able to play this game together until the end. Heart emoji. First, what's your favorite level of Overcooked?
I love you too, McKenna. Okay, weird answer, but 4-2. So it's basically like floating platforms with conveyor belts on each end, and you have to like put them on as you come back together and then drift apart. So that one's very fun.
Fair enough. And second, if you were to play Who Done It, who would you want to be the murderer and who would you want to be the winner? Or winner and why?
Well, I'd rather be the killer because you are guaranteed to last the whole game. You get paid way more than the winner, and there's no stress because you'll never get killed. You're guaranteed to get to the end. You can just lie, which is fun. So,
and who would you want to be the winner?
Who should be the winner? It's a good question. Victoria. She's very smart. She's very wise. She would make a good winner. That everybody would be a good winner though.
Fair enough. Kyle trying to make sure that he's kissing everyone's ass for future games, maybe.
Of course.
Which leads me into our next question. I had to make that segue. Carrie asked, Kyle, my first question for you is, were you Ian's number ones? Or were you Ian number ones?
I wouldn't say that Ian and I were number ones, but I wanted Ian to think that he and I were number ones, right? I didn't feel like I really had a number one in the game at all. There was no one person who I was like, I'm definitely going to go to the end with you or like not vote you out. So in that sense, he wasn't my number one, but in life, of course, you're my number one. In the game, no.
Of course, and I think you voted for him every single time at one point.
I really tried.
And she just said he mentioned he had 2 number ones. Obviously, the other one was golf. But we didn't see the conversation between you two about it, and I think that's because it was really just him saying and not you guys. You guys never like locked it in, if I'm not mistaken. And this is my second question. I have a riddle for you. Please respond with enthusiasm. What is the name of a vessel for a liquid lunch? 2 words.
Soup bowl. Hopefully that was enthusiastic.
I guess you'll have to find out in like a few days when she actually sees this. Next, we got the winner of Survivor Yagong Island, Ian Moorhead. Kyle, there aren't really words to describe what our friendship has meant to me over the past 3 to 4 months. My questions are who went out in the early merge that shouldn't have, and then there's a second question, but answer that first.
Love you too, man. I would say the one person would be Andrew, because he was also OG Shayu, and I didn't feel like he really made any huge mistakes. I feel like he was a victim of the swap. So I think I would have loved to have seen him in the merge.
You didn't answer the question, but we'll go ahead and roll with it. It was early merge, if so, we want to answer that as well. Early pre-merge and do one early merge, like
early merge. My
yeah,
bad. Yeah, sorry,
you're
I was
good.
thinking pre-merge.
You're fine, no worries.
Yeah, I'll
So
say
yeah,
Matt
Andrew,
then.
Matt, fair enough. We don't applaud giving Matt credit here, but we'll stick with it. And if you could play one song live in front of a packed crowd with you on the guitar and me on the drums, what would it be and why?
Well, I think he already knew the answer before he asked this question, but it is definitely "Keep This Up" by The Story So Far. Classic.
Fair enough. All right. Next, we have Bill McGrath. Kyle, thanks for the idol, my friend. In retrospect, do you think you should have given it to someone else? And then go ahead. And then another question, but again, go ahead one at a time.
I don't think so. I think that I made a good choice in giving it to Bill, for all the reasons I said. Build some trust there. So no, I would definitely give it to you, Bill, every time in that situation.
All right. And next we got and who was your biggest influence on the guitar?
It's tough. I had to think about this one. I'm gonna say Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters. I think he's subconsciously just had a big impact on me because I didn't even realize it until I thought about it. But I definitely see a lot of influence there. So that's my answer.
All right. Next we have Lily. It was great watching you navigate this game with ease and grace. If each of the finalists had a theme song for Yagong Island, what would it be and why? What would they be and why?
All right, so for Ian, I know how much he loves Imagine Dragons, so I'm gonna give him Whatever It Takes, the song, because that's what he did to get to the end, whatever it took.
Very fitting.
Yeah, very fitting. So that's my answer for him. For McKenna, I'm gonna give her Killer Queen because she slays. And then for myself, I'm saying Lies by the Thompson Twins because I just lied all the time. So I think that would be a fitting song for my game this season.
I love that for you. That's great. Next we have John. Kyle, you are such an amazing person and a great friend. You spent much of the late game trying to rally people to vote out Ian, but never embased the number of to do so. What do you think you could have done differently in order to secure those votes?
I think one thing that I could have done would have been at the Final Four if I just followed Ian around the whole time. Just never let him be alone in a room with either Carrie or McKenna so that he didn't have time to convince them. So just keep an eye on him.
Oh yeah, no, and I obviously for obvious reasons couldn't use that breakout room, so I had to use the one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, what is Kyle doing? Talk to everyone 101, just letting Ian go. Oh
yeah,
it killed me because I knew that's
yeah, that was definitely a mistake, but oh well.
Yeah,
that's it.
Fair enough. And next we have Kylie Scruggs, my King Kyle. Heart emoji. I'm your biggest fan, and I was impressed by you becoming an absolute challenge beast this season. You played a great game, and we're so. Oh gosh, she has a lot here. We were so fun to watch as always. Number one, Yagong Island cast reunited in real life at a concert, and you got to pick the band. Who would it be? Who would it be, and why?
So yeah, this is an interesting one. I had to think about it. I went with a band that I know either everyone is already a fan of or someone just people would enjoy. I'm gonna say Paramore. I think that would be a fun show. I think that everybody would have a good time.
All right, fair enough. And she also wants to know, also, if you haven't yet, tell us about the band t-shirt, the band tee you are currently
Oh
wearing.
well, yes, of course. Just for you, my fellow zero vote finalist.
Which you obviously came with.
Yeah.
And next we have Greg Langstein. Kyle, I've been a fan of yours since Lalo Manu. Two questions. Will you commit to a rocking mustache for your next org?
Oh man, if I come out of org retirement, then I will. I will wear
You will.
I probably will. Yeah.
Everyone always does. Everyone always retires, and
They'll pull
I've
me
never
back
heard
in.
one person say.
Yep.
I've never heard one person say they're retiring and actually beat it.
So when the time comes, I will go with the mustache. It doesn't look that good, but I will commit. You heard it here first.
All right, got to keep up with the facial hairstyle. He
Mhm.
said. And number two, question number two is what's a social game move you wish you made in this game?
So I think building an alliance counts as like a social move. So I'd say I wish I would have made like a Final Four alliance with Carrie, McKenna, and Bill. I felt like they all three of them trusted me, but I needed them to trust each other. Like I wanted to like sort of use my relationships with each of them to kind of build some trust between them and bridge those gaps.
Mhm.
Because like I said, I wanted Bill either at the end with me or like right up until the end. And when they voted him out at the final six, I wish like at that round or the round before, I just would have gone to all three of them and said, I want this to be the Final Four. You guys are good. Like I've talked to Bill, Carrie, he's good with you, and then go back and say the same so that they weren't voting for each other, because that's where a lot went wrong.
Yeah, and McKenna Feeney also just added that she please give me a mustache. I want to see this. So
Yes,
now you
and I
have
can
multiple
twirl
people.
it.
If you are playing an org again, whatever that may be, you have a standard to live up to now. So
I have to do it now.
exactly. You already made the promise, but that's
Yep.
all of our wonderful Facebook questions. I'm going to hand it back over to Julia.
I usually have one question, but I have two this time. With all of the music questions being asked, I want to know, what is your favorite song and your favorite artist?
Favorite song of all time, I would have to say "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd, but "My Curse" by Killswitch Engage is a like very close second. And then favorite artist of all time is a band called Volbeat from Denmark. Huge fan of them.
Love to see it.
So in hindsight, is there anything that you think you could have done differently or would have done differently? I know you touched on this a bit throughout the course of the game to either set you up better for the end game, help you get more votes, or even change the outcome at FTC.
Well, I think at FTC I was very thrown off. So like my FTC performance was not as good for sure as it could have been, because I didn't expect Ian to be sitting there. So when he was, I really had to think about how I could counter like his answers as well as McKenna's answers, because she also had a good performance. So I would say that specifically it's not like a move, but just like a moment that I feel like could have been way stronger. So that's what I got.
Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I love learning all the musical things about you, and I'm going to throw it back over to Jay, but thank you again.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly. You were obviously an amazing delight in the season. You're definitely so much fun just seeing you doing like different professionals. You're like, yeah, I'm just here. You live for it, and you were just living in the moment. I think the entire time. I think you kind of brought like just a little bit of brighter energy when people were just like sitting there screaming in confessionals, and you were definitely you hung in there. You had an impressive comeback. So I think you were great in the season, and we were so happy. And don't let the zero votes get to you. Obviously, happens to the best of us.
No, it was just it was a lot of fun the whole time. I just had a blast. So happy that I was able to play and make it all the way to the end. So thank you all.
No, of course you're welcome. And like I said, we appreciate you having us. Now at closing stuff. So tomorrow we will have McKenna Inglis X interview, followed by on Thursday, the winner, Ian Moorhead's interview, followed by Friday, the reunion being posted, and our exit, and like I said, our final 3-episode recap with our special guest. Other than that, we have been tuning in all season long. And as always, I got to do my little seamless plug. We are casting for season 2 of Bayonetta Island, and coming soon. You're not gonna miss it. It's airing on. It's being recorded on September 17th. It's a lot of fun. You guys don't want to miss it. And Bill is making the challenge this time. So you want tough challenges, you should join. That's all I'm saying. Other than that, thank you everyone for tuning in all season and doing what you do. We appreciate it. Have a good night.